Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and before the video even starts, let me just remind any interested parties, really two people, the YouTube reviewer and Jason Felix himself, that he agreed in the contract he signed with Wizards to have his name, his first and last name, shown alongside this artwork on the card and anywhere else it happens to be displayed, including third-party coverage of it, which they allow. You are a public figure. You have absolutely no right to try to take this video down based on a privacy complaint when you are going to have your name on like 50 to 100,000 copies of this card distributed worldwide and anywhere it's digital and in multiple databases and on Wizards' website and on partner websites, which you agreed to. There are anonymous artists who go by a nickname. You did not check that box on the contract. If I lose a privacy complaint, I can't live stream for like a month, and then you're going to reimburse me for all of my lost revenues. So I suggest not digging yourself in a deeper hole, because then you'll just have 2 lawsuits to deal with, because I would not drop it. With that said, let's get into the video explaining what Jason Felix did, in my opinion. Hey guys, Desolate Magic here with a short bombshell of a story. Not much to this one. I'm just going to explain it right off the bat. Here's Crux of Fate from the Mystical Archives. And the art is done by Jason Felix, except that's the problem. It's not. He stole all that artwork. So you may have heard that Nicol Bolas on the right was stolen from a Deviant Art artist. But did you know that at the very least Ugin's head on the left was stolen from another artist named Robert Swanland? Here's the original. And you might have thought, okay, well, yeah, that is an exact perfect lineup photocopy of the head, but then the wings and the arms kind of moved. Yes, that's very easy to do in Photoshop. I would demonstrate it, but I try to limit myself to 1 Photoshop video per day. I'm all shopped out today, but I am going to show Scary Pet. On Twitter, they released a video showing off how it was done, so I'm just going to kind of walk you through that. So first off, the actual text of the tweet was, should I be flattered? Hee hee. But seriously, MTG has been a major influence that developed my love for making art. And I've sent application/portfolio many times to Wizards of the Coast. That to me is the worst part of all this. Now someone told me my art made it onto a card, ironically in a somewhat stolen way. Hashtag MTG Strixhaven. I gotta say, Scary Pet's taken it pretty well. I mean, I would not be making jokes, I would be making threats. Legal threats. Maybe other types too. I mean, stealing my work and passing it off as your own, that's a big no-no. I mean, they're getting paid. There's like money involved with them turning in this art and selling it to Wizards. I mean, there's layers to how pissed off I would be if this happened to me. Well, so far no statement from Wizards, but I can guarantee you Jason Felix is never drawing another thing for them as long as he lives. Especially since he didn't draw this one. And you know, while they're at it, maybe they should fire the person who made the faithless looting art. The card's low-res as hell, but I think that the name was Carly something. Apparently her other work looks amazing, so nobody knows what happened here. I would love an interview with her if she like purposely spiked the art, like as in made it look like crap and then passed it off and made him put it on the card as like a joke because she has like a chip on her shoulder over Wizards of the Coast. That would be actually a hell of a story. I'd love to hear about that. I mean, that's a man in a hood wearing a dress pouring out some soup. What else is there to say? So let's break down what went on with the art theft of the century here. All right, so the video that they put on Twitter says, I saw this comment on my Deviant Art page, and I had to slow this down a little bit because, my gosh, this video is just whipping. So this art appears in Crux of Fate, new card. Wow, congrats. Whoa, what? My surprise Pikachu face. I love that. Lick. Oh, man. Memes, dude. Meme culture. I admit I don't think I drew a very unique pose, so benefit of the doubt is present. Well, that's not going to last very long. So, okay, there's their art back from 2016. Notice the Deviant Art, what do you call it? Watermark. So you can see that is a pixel for pixel exact duplicate. The head right there. Yeah, you can turn it on and off. I mean, that is their artwork. You can't say it's not. And then hands, which are notoriously difficult to draw, even on humans, let alone dragons. There it is. So you rotate it. So what they did is they basically just reassembled it. They split it apart and then got the layers just right so that there's no blank pixels. Or just, you know, fudged it in between. Like, I could literally do this in about 3 minutes in Photoshop. I mean, that level of extraction when it's not even like a real human, it's like an illustration. Come on, so easy. So, you know, you get the body up like that, and there you go. I mean, just clean it up a little bit, and I mean, you can tell Scary Pet did it in like minutes. And then he says, yeah, he probably had to redraw the part that looks different because of the Deviant Art watermark. Look at that, like the stomach, the torso. And they gave him a 6-pack, so fantastic. That was a dragon. That was like an 18-pack. And of course, I threw up the Ugin for side-by-side comparison. Again, you can see the head was there, the wings were changed, probably stolen from another artist. I feel like I've even seen wings that look like that on Ugin art. And then redrew the bodies, so and the arms. So really just the head was stolen, but whatever. Now, stolen might not be the right term because to me, it looks like it was redrawn from scratch over the top. So what they did is they probably put it down, traced over it with, pencil or whatever, did the hard lines, and then did the color afterwards and kind of made it theirs, but it is the exact same picture. Like, if I sit in front of the Mona Lisa, then redraw it, it's going to look like I redrew it. It's not going to be, a photocopy, but I'm drawing the Mona Lisa. I'm drawing that figure. I'm drawing it exactly in the same pose. You can't really legally get away with that. And speaking of legal stuff, legal lightning round. Let me introduce to you the 4 horsemen of the copyright theft apocalypse. Number 1, absolute ripoff. Number 2, completely different drawing. Number 3, homage/unauthorized performance, almost exclusively applies to music. There really is no unauthorized art performance unless the performance is them drawing it live. So that one doesn't apply. And then the fun one, number 4, fair use. Does this fall under fair use? So let's focus on the 4 horsemen of fair use. We've got the purpose and character of the use, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and substantiality of the portion taken, and the effect and use upon the potential market. AKA market replacement is the way I like to phrase it. So is this fair use? Like for the Ugin one, all they stole was the head, they redrew the rest, although they probably just stole the rest from somebody else. And all they did was use the frame and the likeness and then drew it themselves from scratch. It's not like they literally copied the pixels, they just copied the image of it. But then drew it in the exact same pose, the exact same way with the same colors and same style, though. They replicated all that. So, that's where it gets weird. But purpose and character of your use, I'll just cut to the chase on Ugin. It is an absolute toss-up that could go either way in court. Now, let's focus on Bolas. More substantial theft, higher percentage, I think that'll help. There's an argument to be made for Ugin that, the head, the face is the likeness of the character, the rest is whatever, so he only took the part he needed. Wizards owns the likeness of the character in the first place, and he did technically draw it from scratch. So, I'd give him a 60-70% chance of winning in court. Not great, but not in the minority. Bolas, boy, the hand, the face, and the only part they redrew was the part with a watermark because they had to. Yeah. Same pose, same everything. Yeah, they drew it from scratch, but it's the same coloring, same emotion, it's the same art. If you were to say, yeah, but character likeness, that's a trademark kind of thing. First of all, I don't think Wizards actually trademarked it. And secondly, even if they did, or they had a blanket one, or they're about to, they don't technically control individual likenesses of the trademark. It's really complicated, but let me just throw out, trademark law doesn't apply in this case. Almost at all. I'll just... Let's move past that. So, purpose and character of the use for Nicol Bolas. Is it fair use? Making art for the MTG community and to sell to Wizards. Literally the exact same thing that Scary Pet was doing. They tried to submit their art to Wizards to try and get a job as a contractor to draw some art for a card, never heard back, and now it was stolen. They are in the same industry, it's the same purpose. Ooh, that's not good. Now, if Jason Felix, instead of selling it to Wizards, put it up on a billboard in China trying to sell baked beans, they'd have a little bit more of an argument for the purpose and character of the use. In fact, they'd be in bigger hot water because of the trademark issues and the likeness issues and the character usage. Next up, the nature of the copyrighted work. Well, online digital art, painted, digital art creation, Let's just say it's not like one's a 3D sculpture and the other one's a 2D image of the sculpture, which even that would be a little close. So the nature, digitally drawn art, it's the same damn thing. Even if it's hand-drawn and scanned, it's drawn art. If you read Harry Potter and then you drew what you thought Harry Potter looked like without the movies coming out, that would be nature of copyrighted work. That's like a classic example. And you'd be in way bigger trouble with the character likeness and trademark issues. Number 3, this is where it gets interesting. The amount and substantiality of the portion taken. It's the majority, if not at least half of the character. That's enough. It's the important parts too, one would argue. So here's the thing. Somebody can take, like a professional photographer, a 100% copyrighted, super high-res, like 20 megapixel photo of the Grand Canyon. They own that photo. Let's say they even bothered to submit the copyright and get it actually registered at the office. Cool. There is no law, and nor would they even have a case in court, or at least I'd have a valid defense is the way this works. If I took their photo, absolutely changed all the lighting and everything, made it look like in Photoshop with a bunch of filters and careful overlays and redrawing parts of it, that it made it look like it was a watercolor painting when it was actually taken in real life. And then I cover a bunch of it in smoke, have a bunch of UFOs coming down, I draw them in myself, have lasers blasting all over, smoke pouring out, and flames and fire coming up the side of the Grand Canyon. And then also, because it's me, gorillas with AK-47s, because it's Planet of the Apes versus UFOs, a sequel, a fan fiction that I have made up in my head. And they're standing on the cliff of the Grand Canyon returning fire, and some of the UFOs are going down. They're all full of bullet holes. And then, because it's a super ultra crossover, I add in some Tiberium crystals, because the aliens are there for the Tiberium. So I add in some exotic mutated plants. I make the cactuses look all weird and growing abnormally. And then like a three-eyed lizard in the corner because, they're mutated because of the Tiberium radiation. They would lose in court so quickly if they said, it doesn't matter, you still used our photograph. The substantiality or portion taken, yes, I took all of it, but I have changed it enough. It's either how much did you use or how much did you change it? So retroactively, how much did you use? Like how much remains of the original work that you used is a better way to phrase it. If it's to the point where somebody's like, oh, I guess looking at them side by side, yeah, if I squint, I could see that that's based on the original. Oh, it actually was the original. They just used some really good photo filters in Photoshop to make it look watercolor. Okay, honestly, I didn't even know these were the same photo. I just thought it was the same layout of the Grand Canyon. Yeah, that would win in court all day, at least on that one part. And then the rest, I mean, it's like, the rest of the factors is like, well, I'm selling it on a t-shirt and you have it on your own personal website, not for sale. Well, there you go. Purpose and character of use. Nature of the copyrighted work. Artistic sci-fi comedy versus naturescape. So, amount and substantiality of the portion taken. If somebody made this big, huge piece of art and you just borrow one little tree in the background and put that in yours, and then that's one tiny part of your artwork, you could probably get away with it. You were too lazy or incompetent to draw a tree, so you took theirs. But the judge might throw it out just solely on the grounds of, yeah, but they only stole 5%. It's not the same product. You own a copyright on the whole thing. But that said, I can't just crop half of it and I'll say, oh, I stole 50% of it actually, so that's not all of it, so I'm in the clear. No. And remember, if I cut off the parts that are substantial, like if it's a picture of a hot air balloon over the Grand Canyon and I cut out everything but like a really tight shot on the canyon and the balloon, that's the substantial part of it. So the substantiality and portion taken, very important. So what's the focus of this artwork? I mean, yeah, the backgrounds, okay, those are cool, whatever. It's the two characters fighting and it's the two dragons, and especially their faces and their body poses. That's what he stole. Substantiality and portion taken. It's the absolute most crucial part of the art. So yeah, Scary Pet's got him on that one, 100%. Then the last one, and this is the most important, is like market replacement. Are you causing them financial and like monetary losses or even potential future losses by you stealing the work? And are you targeting the same market? And that is why Sargon of Akkad got away with what I thought was the weakest fair use claim I have ever seen in my life. But the fact that he was targeting completely, like literally not just different people, the opposite group of people politically. A completely and utterly different crowd with the way he edited the video, making a completely opposite point. Even though he had no commentary, nothing but a title change, he just edited it differently and included the majority of it. I thought, he's going to get his ass kicked. What an idiot. And then he won almost exclusively based on the potential market replacement. And then the last one was transformative nature. I think there's actually like 7 things to fair use. I don't know why I'm even reading this off this website when I already know it's wrong. But you got, was it used for educational purposes? That's another thing, which, not a factor here. In the kind of same vein as educational, was it for review? Like, am I playing portions of a song to review it and say, here's how they played it, the guitar does this, here's the time, the measures, they switched the time at this song to like a 3/4 time. And that exact guitar is from the 70s and it would sound differently if it was made out of a different type of metal. Like if that's the reason I'm playing a song on YouTube and they try and claim it, 100% educational, transformative. And the way I cut it off and didn't use it in its entirety and didn't use it all in a row, no market replacement whatsoever. I'm going after people who want to learn composition. They're going after people who want to listen to music. It's not even close. And market replacement, substitution? Are you kidding me? Somebody's gonna not go listen to the song in its entirety and not purchase it because they saw my video where I chopped it up into 10-second segments. And then there's the question of, did you use more than you have to? Did you use the minimum amount allowable, or I mean, like logically that you needed to get your point across and illustrate things? And then transformative is kind of like, did you add something to it? So all those factors, I mean, they're kind of up in the air, but I'd say generally between everything I just mentioned as like little subclasses of fair use, most of them, if not all of them, go in favor of Scary Pet and against Mr. Art Thief Jason Felix. Oh, and by the way, a fun little side effect of the size and popularity of my channel, this has happened before, is if anybody Googles Jason Felix's name by about next week, they're gonna get this video as the #1 result. You done messed up, Jason, and luckily it's within YouTube's terms of service. Because he's a public figure, as I said at the beginning of the video, who agreed to have his name associated publicly with this artwork. It's part of the contract. I'm sure there's a little box that says, I want to remain anonymous, don't disclose my information. And he checked the one that says, I want to be famous, put my name all over it, wizards. Well, that grants me permission to say it then, doesn't it? You're a public artist. You're famous. Send your privacy complaint directly to D's nuts. But seriously, you try and take down this video, I am going to sue you instantly. I wouldn't even hesitate. You think you're in deep now with how politely Scary Pet is taking this? Try pissing me off. Don't dig yourself in deeper, go get a different job that doesn't involve art, because your career in the art world is done. You did it to yourself. Stop trying to brush the evidence under the rug, okay? For every me, there's 10 other me's that aren't going to comply with a takedown. And yes, I am stressing it so much because yes, I have had people try that on my channel before. I mean, I just gave him the middle finger, appealed, and won. This time I'm taking it to court because this guy's a scumbag. A lazy, untalented thief. Speaking of that, the fourth factor, the effect and use upon the potential market. Is it a replacement? Yes, because it's the same damn art, which was actively trying to be sold from Scary Pet to Wizards of the Coast for the purposes of putting on Magic the Gathering cards. To say that that might just be the same market would be an understatement, and that is the #1 factor. It doesn't matter how educational, transformative, how much I tweaked it. If I'm targeting the same market and supplanting it, and I am losing the person's sales because of what I did, the other factors go out the window. Usually in court, the #1 thing they care about is money and losses, because at the end of the day, if you're costing them money with your product, then you just must automatically be wrong about it being transformative or educational enough. That's basically the logic there. So I know he's going to come out, Jason Felix is going to come out and say, yeah, but it's his likeness. I wanted to get it accurate. I wanted it consistent. You know, look at M14 Jace. He wasn't consistent. Everybody made fun of it. So yeah, I copied the face and I drew the rest. What? But everybody knows you went further than that. I get it. It's a justification. My theory is that you're just untalented. It was too hard to draw, or you were too busy or too lazy doing something else, so you just took a shortcut. I mean, I would actually expect somebody where they say draw Ugin or draw Nicol Bolas, they'd pull up 10 different former cards with him on it, or as many as they could find, put them all on a monitor and just look at them all and just be like, okay, generally between these three, his mouth looks like this, and then generally his horns look like this, and then make it your own, draw it your own way. And you know, it's not going to be close enough no matter how close you try to get, but what he did is stacked it up and traced it. I mean, clear as day, that's what he did. That's where the line is drawn very clearly. So if this went to court, yeah, basically it is so intentional and so, what do they call that? Like not, like he doesn't have a defense. So if he goes to try to fight it instead of settling, if it actually goes to court, the damages would be trebled, which is just fancy talk for tripled. And depending upon the method, the state, and you know, that kind of stuff, it's kind of weird because it's below a $75,000 theft in all likelihood. I think the contractors get a couple grand tops for their artwork. Scary Pet would basically win triple what Wizards would have paid them. Now, if Wizards steps in and they're like, okay, give us the money back, Jason, which he would be obligated to do and he complies with it, they take that money, give it to Scary Pet, and then just leave the artwork up as is, because they have to. Try recalling the cards, Wizards. See how many people send them back. Nobody's that stupid. Whenever you recall something that's a collectible, it means hoard it, say you lost it in a boating accident, and then sell it 10 years later on eBay for $10,000. That's what a recall means. Oops, every copy of Crux of Fate went over the boat. I was fishing and just a whole pile of them just right into the lake. Sorry, Wizards, I can't send them back. They're probably down at the very bottom of the lake along with my high cap magazines if Biden signs that executive order. So here's the thing. Yeah, the dude would probably get, what, like 3 to 10,000 and somewhere in that neighborhood. Oh, but as I was saying earlier, he might be able to tack on like statutory damages where there's like minimums, but that's usually for things that can't be valued. If you can value the actual loss of the actual contract of actually selling the art with an actual established market value, like for example, what Wizards paid him, then you go to statutory. Like if somebody files an article online for like the New York Times or something that says, hey, Desolator Magic is a white supremacist member of the KKK. I could just say that's so egregious and so insulting. I don't need to prove that I lost any kind of, subs over it or had to go pay for therapy because I'm so, crushed over it. That's real expenses. I could just say that is so egregious and so offensive and so unbelievable that I'm just going to hit you with $50K. Or whatever in that court, in that circuit, what that statutory amount either is on the books or has historically been when you cite precedent that's similar. It's a lot harder to win that way, but you get a good enough lawyer and write it well enough, you're going to win. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem with all of this. Let's just back it up. This case, if they were both to be full-blown dicks about it, which means delay, drag it out, make it as expensive as possible, you're looking at $50,000 to $100,000 worth of legal fees to get $10K. If a reasonable settlement was offered by Jason Felix, then Scary Pet, and Scary Pet said, no, we're going to take it to court, because I want to cost you more money and I'm going to seek legal fees, they would right off the bat automatically, first of all, probably lose the lawsuit, and then secondly, lose the ability to recover legal fees. That would be a net loss. I mean, if the amount was crowdfunded to cover the legal fees, I'm just throwing that out there, then it's not really your money, but the settlement is. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, that's like kind of meta against the law, and the judge is not going to go for that. There's actually even like a term for that where it's like, no, I want to cost them legal fees. I'll even pay my own. You're going to end up paying their legal fees. There was a really famous case in 2020 where that happened, and they ended up winning the case for like $20K and then having to pay the other guy's legal fees of like $82,000 because they rejected a settlement that was within like 10% of what they won in court. They rejected it with no legitimate reason other than I want to drag your ass to court and lose you money. And so that's why they ended up, like I said, winning the amount of the copyright claim. It was actually a copyright lawsuit. And then they had to pay the defendant's legal fees, which were more. They won the case and lost the money. So don't pull that shit, okay? That stuff don't fly in court, okay? Judges are smarter than that. Some of them. Also, if you have absolutely no defense whatsoever, now he could scrape together, well, I thought it was different enough because I drew the body. There you go. That's a legitimate defense. Even if it loses in court, that sounds reasonable enough for a person to believe. If you made a copy of the 1989 movie with Tom Hanks called The Burbs, which everybody should go watch, oh my God, is the best movie ever made. If you made a copy of it, burned it to a DVD and sold them on the street corner, and then you were like, no, I'm not going to settle in court. I'm going to let this go to the case. We're going to get a judgment on this. You have no defense whatsoever. I guarantee you're paying the plaintiff's legal fees. I guarantee it. There was no reason not to settle. It is well within your right, but you had zero defense and 0% chance of winning the case, and you knew it. That's going to look really good for the plaintiffs when they go to seek legal fees. Also, the willingness, the knowingness, and the egregiousness of the copying of the copyright is taken into account because, like, now you cost them, like, all the money that they needed to pay their lawyer to go retrieve the fees without having a valid argument that necessitated it. So now, like, the damages include the legal fees. Hopefully that makes sense. So if this were to go to court, I don't think Jason Felix would end up paying Scary Pet's legal fees necessarily, but it wouldn't be cut and dry and it wouldn't be automatic. This is kind of why that absolute scumbag piece of human garbage H3H3, aka Ethan, why him and his wife did not go after whatever his name was for legal fees. He threw up the BS defense that I thought they used too much of the video. They used too high of a percentage. And it wasn't transformative enough in my opinion. I think he made statements saying, like, they've insulted me and I'm taking it down because of that. So, there you go. There's the truth. Not only is he now in risk of perjury, but if they would have went after him for legal fees, they absolutely could have gotten it. Word is, the defendant in that case, he had a lawyer who was working 100% no fee, maybe just a slight retainer, and then, like, no fee unless he wins. So because he lost, he didn't owe him anything. So all they did was waste their own money and their fans' money, and then they were honestly just, like, too lazy and cowardly and lazy. They just said it was so much work. It was more work than you think. And we were just done with it at that point. We didn't want to extend the case by seeking legal fees. Well, you should have, because that's what we're paying you for. Not like I donated to that rich millionaire asshole's legal fund, but we wanted consequences, and there were zero consequences in that case for the dude. He just went to court, wasted his time, didn't pay the lawyer shit, lost, and then, oh well. Video went back up. Okay, that's it. Didn't have to pay him shit. What a coward. Unbelievable. One of the many reasons I hate Ethan from H3H3. Lazy, low effort, unintelligent coward. Oh, that's why. I know sometime in like the next 10 years, I'm going to end up in court against somebody. I've pissed off so many people that they're going to try something stupid, and I'm going to win a lot of their property, if not all of it, and everything in their bank. And I'm going to go after them 10 times as viciously. Let's just say like I had a famous dog and my YouTube channel was about a dog, and then somebody was drunk driving and ran it over, and then I went to court and they got off on some technicality with the civil damages and financial damages to the loss of all the income on my channel. I wouldn't just say, oh, well, the legal system sucks and leave it at that. I don't just give up when I'm wronged, unlike Ethan. Oh no, it got hard and took some of my time and effort. Oh no. Yeah, if somebody wins in court that isn't supposed to against me, just because they have more money, better lawyers or whatever, some technicality bullshit, it's going to be press hit piece one after another. I'm going to burn their reputation to the ground, among other things. So unfortunately, Scary Pet seems a little bit nicer than this, but if somebody's like, hey, you could basically go after them for a couple grand and they'll just settle. Just make a little 20, 30, 40% agreement with some lawyer that, just charges a $500 retainer up front. They won't even bother to travel to your state. They'll call you up on the phone and negotiate it and cut you a check. You cut in Wizard's legal department as a co-defendant or like a co-conspirator or whatever, or just like an what do you call that? Like an also liable something, whatever party. They'll just be like, yeah, we're in the wrong. Hey, Jason, we're settling. And also, you fired. I mean, this would be the quickest court case. This wouldn't be none of this year-long bullshit. This would be, it's not even going to court. It's not even a case. It's you screwed up, mail them a check or send them Dogecoins over because you lose. And then if Wizards wanted to really pave this over, they would hire a Scary Pet to make some artwork for a future card. That's how you dig your way out of a PR disaster. Not that Wizards would know how to do that because they're morons. They have a lot of experience in doing exactly the opposite of digging themselves out of a PR nightmare. Their strategy is a two-part one. One, double down, and two, insult an even wider group of people. Anger even more people. Be even more offensive. So anyway, yeah, this could turn into a shitstorm. Scary Pet, if you want some help, kick funding a legal fee. If you find a really bad lawyer that wants all the money up front, or you think you're not going to be able to get legal fees because you won't, because it'll go to a settlement, because it won't go to court. And if you try to force it into court by declining the settlement, you're going to cost yourself a lot of money. But yeah, if it goes to it, if nobody wants to play ball, hit me up. We'll do the 24-hour live stream, like old school telethon. Let's bury Jason Felix, ultimate fundraiser live stream. That sounds like fun. I might just do it anyway. Hell, you guys could have already settled it. I'll just name it the Jason Felix Sucks live stream. And we won't collect shit. We'll just sit there and meme on him and draw stuff in Photoshop. We'll make it a good old time. So, I guess the moral of the story is don't steal other people's artwork because you're too lazy and incompetent to do it yourself. Put in the effort. Do your damn job. Or don't get hired in the first place. So thanks for watching, everybody. And I'll see you guys next lawsuit.